Welcome to the 103rd edition of Make Pro Wrestling Majestic again. I am Tigerhite, still your champion.
I am Peanut Gallery.
So we're going to be doing something, we've done something very similar before, but we're going to rehash it because there's no pay-per-views, and we're doing this on Saturdays. So before we get into it, we're going to get on my soapbox. So I do not have the ratings demo nor the top 150 because I don't have every single show watched, and it would not be fair. So, Raw. Overall, the show was fine. I think the tournaments themselves are great to reestablish the main roster, the main event scene because of, obviously, this is the first show after the draft.
Right.
And after Backlash. So that was all there. Otis and Ali was actually straight garbage. I'm happy that they got Cody out of the tournament and still in the program with Lesnar, and I liked how they did it where Cody was attacked during the triple threat. I think it actually really worked because Cody still did not look weak even with that because we all know his destiny. His destiny is going to beat Reigns.
Right.
It just wasn't the right time to beat Reigns.
Yep.
So I think it actually worked out well there. There were some wasted opportunities here. Dominic Mysterio and Xavier Woods just had a random match, and it's like there was potential there, but they just did not necessarily take advantage of it. They bent the knee to Dana Brooke being in a match, and she got absolutely destroyed. WWE, do not appease us, because when you appease us, that's when things go wrong, just like AEW. So, overall, like I said, Raw was meh. Orange Cassidy, thumbs up for the most part. Let's go into NXT, which was actually a lot better than I expected. The tournament with the women's champion kicked off well. I'm not worried about what Gigi Dolan said about I Miss PK, which her name on the indie scene was Priscilla Kelly. So that's kind of where that tweet was, but I don't think there was anything to it. If not, there was not really much of an issue there. Ilya Dragunov and Dijak are going into a feud, and I am okay with that on every aspect. Charlie Dempsey and Tyler Bate was fine, but Joe Gacy attacking Tyler Bate all of a sudden instead of continuing a rivalry with Charlie Dempsey and Drew Gulak is strange. Kind of out of nowhere. And then Breakker is just crushing it as a heel. He feels a lot better in the ring. He looks more confident, and he destroying not only Trick Williams but Carmelo Hayes actually worked to his advantage, and I think it's so needed because, Jesus, he needed some new momentum.
Right.
And finally, I want to talk about the NXT Tag Team Champions because I feel like they are quickly being devalued into nothing because they're just randomly defended on random NXTs that don't get the same love as every other champion. What is with these titles, and why are they defending them like this? It's just very, very strange. Dynamite, I actually have more positive to say about Dynamite than negative, which is great. Hooray! Once again, titles on the line for no apparent reason, which are annoying. It is what it is. They hot-shotted the Anna Jay and Julia Hart rivalry, but also I'm a bit confused because they implied that Julia Hart and Anna Jay were best friends on screen. I do not recall a single moment of them having an interaction outside of this feud. Ty Mello and Anna Jay were the friends.
Right.
They were the tag team partners, but she's not there. So they just kind of shoehorn it to Julia. You know I'm not an idiot, right? So Ray Phoenix and Claudio Castagnoli, the double jeopardy. I like the premise. The match was fine, but once again, they're Ring of Honor champions. This is for the Ring of Honor stuff. Keep Ring of Honor within Ring of Honor. It's just very jolting. And finally, that main event with Moxley and Omega brought me back to 2019 AEW. It was exactly what it needed to be. And people bitched, oh, it's just like GCW with all the glass and this and that. It's like, duh, it's a Jon Moxley match. It's a steel cage match.
Yeah.
If there was a rivalry with it, it probably would have worked better.
Well, I mean, there is kind of a rivalry, isn't there?
Yeah,
like
well,
it's
the
elite.
It's the long-standing rivalry because this was the first big feud within AEW. When Jon Moxley showed up, he attacked Kenny Omega. So it's good, and it felt it felt alive again. And I do know that they got better numbers. I think it was 866K from 766. It was kind of a good jump.
Yeah.
But it was there. And Don Callis betraying Kenny Omega was very good. I thought it was done well.
It was very much needed.
It was. And they lost their minds. I wonder what Don Callis is going to do now. Is he joining Blackpool Combat Club? Are they going to change that name finally? But, you know, like I said, I liked more about this Dynamite than I hated. So that's at least a positive. The Impact was very, very strange. Steve Macklin defended the I almost said AEW World Champion, the Impact World Champion against Rhino during the show. Why bother having pay-per-views when anybody can just defend the titles at any show?
Who knows?
Steve Macklin is your supposed face of the company as the world champion.
Well, wasn't this one of the Chicago shows?
Yes.
So I wonder if they filmed that because it was one of their Chicago shows. I wouldn't be surprised.
Maybe don't do it for television because it just doesn't make any sense. And also, they just kind of shoehorned it in the middle of the show.
Huh, that was weird.
Now, unless Impact is really focusing in on the Knockouts because the Knockouts Tag Team Champions were the main event, then maybe. But at the same time, Josh Alexander really had a great title run, and right now with Steve Macklin, I was excited. But now, it's really hurting. Don't have Steve Macklin defend the world champion at random shows. It's just so jolting. Unless there was a reason for it.
Right.
And there was no reason for this other than Scott D'Amore is a priss. That's pretty much it. Like, God.
Your words, not mine.
Masha Slamovich and Killer Kelly actually had a decent match. I hope they continue that rivalry because I liked how they ended the match and it was fine. Joe Hendry's segment was a rare miss for Hendry. And then Dirty Dango and Johnny Swinger's match was absolute garbage. I don't know why they continue to do that, and they're devaluing Joe Hendry by putting him with the Goofs, the Goof Troop.
Goof Troop.
So the Coven and Perazo Grace match, it just did not click. I don't like it when they say, "Oh, here's a feud. You guys are going to be teaming." No, that's not how that works. And the match itself, it was fine.
A feud, an active feud that works as a tag team is very rarely well done.
Yes, and this was not how you do it because they just got a random tag team title match. It's so weird.
It is. It's not. This is not Shawn Michaels and John Cena.
This was not. This was not the Bar. Sheamus and Cesaro.
Oh, that's right. They did. They were feuding, and then they won the tag team champions. And became friends.
Yeah, exactly. And they actually formed the thing. It was magic. This just wasn't there. And so at the very least, they're waiting for Trinity to have her first match at a Impact Plus special. At the very least. But they had Nick Aldis wrestling a random-ass match against a random-ass guy. Nick Aldis, who was being sought after by AEW and WWE pretty hard, just had his first match back on a random-ass Impact.
We're just going to roll with it.
There's a lot of random-ass things here. It's like, could you have waited till Under Siege? He already has a match booked. Could you have waited till then? No, apparently not. And finally, for SmackDown, because Rampage is being filmed tonight.
Yes.
I'm not going to be covering it, but let's talk about it. Edge, AJ Styles, and Rey Mysterio had a good opener overall. Sheamus, Bobby Lashley, and Austin Theory, they had a good match, but not as good as the first one. The Cameron Grimes thing, just one move, didn't really matter. The Roman Reigns segment was very good, excellently done, but Roman Reigns is killing it on screen. AJ Styles and Bobby Lashley, it was a good match, but Lashley had a head growing on top of his head because I think he slammed his head into the steel post, and that's where he got his cut. I mean, this thing was deep, right on the top of his head. And, of course, he's the one who had to win, so they had to put him in 2 matches.
Right.
I'm still under the thing of I do not like SmackDown superstars in a tournament for a supposed Raw exclusive champion.
It was kind of weird.
It's very weird. Now, I'm going to give it an enormous amount of credit because it reestablishes main event division.
Talents, right. I think that's why they did.
Just like Raw, but there was a way to do this. You know, you could have said, big old thing, we're going to have Roman Reigns wrestle at Night of Champions or whatever.
Well, obviously Roman Reigns already has a match at Night of Champions.
Yeah, but that was booked literally the same night.
Right.
So they could have started something and maybe, I don't know, have some schwazoo or whatever for Roman. But yeah, it was just kind of strange for this SmackDown. But that was a very quick and kind of sporadic soapbox.
Yep.
Overall, I liked the week of wrestling. There wasn't really anything that stood out to me as being bad, just questionable decisions.
Well, I guess we'll
overall.
wait and see what Rampage brings us, right?
Oh, yeah, I know. Fuck. Anyway, so when we come back, we're going to be doing ChatGPT booking what, Peanut Gallery?
Well, we are going to give it scenarios where TNA failed miserably, and we are going to right some of the wrongs.
Excellent.